So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper. We will try to cover the important articles from weekends as well. So let's start. We'll start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture, and then we will be moving on to the fact of the day. Herein we'll be talking about a government's program which has been started recently, okay, and then we'll be talking about our own constitution. There we have covered the part which are related to president, vice president, okay. Now we'll be entering into the parts which are related to parliament, okay, that is significant portion for your examination. That there are questions which has been asked from the you can say various aspects which are related to parliament in the prelims as well as mains. So we'll be talking about that. Then we'll be covering these 3-4 articles. Here you will be seeing that black coat syndrome. Now basically recently our president has attended a particular event and wherein she has talked about this particular syndrome. So we will be talking about black coat and white coat syndromes. Then we will be moving to the next part, that is India's special China problem. Our external affairs minister has talked about this particular issue, that when we talk about China or you can say world over, various countries are facing this China problem, and now we have a special problem because we are neighbor as well, okay. So we will be discussing in that particular area, and then we will be seeing that what are the things which we are doing to eliminate these problems, okay. Then Namibia to kill elephants. So basically recently you know that this country is drought prone. So basically it is going through a drought and they have decided to kill elephants over there. Not only elephants, other animals too, but since we are talking about Namibia, Namibia has one of the largest population of elephants. They will be going for killing elephants as well. So we will be talking about that, and then we will be seeing certain other news which are related to your international sphere as well. In the end there will be an article for your own read. So let's start. If we look at the front page of today's newspaper, here you will be seeing Canadian visa in hand, record number of Indian illegally entering USA seek asylum in UK. We will be discussing this article as well, like why this is an alarming issue for USA as well as UK, okay. So we will be discussing that. Second thing is, our president here said that poor afraid of going to courts, okay. So they have talked about black coat syndrome. So we will be talking about black coat syndrome. We will be talking about what are the issue which judiciary is facing right now. We will be seeing the opinion of president, as well as we will be seeing certain things which has been enlisted by the Chief Justice of India as well, okay. So that is about the front page. Let's start with the question, practice question. Here you will be seeing which of the following country is not a member of SCO, okay. Now Belarus, Iran, Japan and Russia. Now announcement has been there for the membership of the Belarus, okay, and when we talk about Iran, Iran has already formally joined now. When we talk about Japan, Japan is part of SCO. Then when we see, when we talk about these countries, Russia is part of SCO. When we talk about Japan, Japan is not, okay. So option C would be your right answer over here. Then moving further, we will be seeing fact of the day, that is Shilp Didi Mahotsav at Delhi Haat, New Delhi, showcasing the government's dedication to empowering female artisans known as Shilp Didis, okay. So yeah, here this particular thing, or you can say this program, that is Shilp Didi program, that is important. This is one fact, that there was this Mahotsav which has been celebrated. Now I'll be taking the liberty to tell you about this particular program. So here 100 women artisans has been identified, okay, and they will be known as Shilp Didis, representing nearly 72 districts, and they are from 23 states, okay, covering a total of 30 different crafts. So these are the, you can say, talents in which they have actually selected 100 women artisans. And then the primary objective of this program is to foster economic empowerment and the financial independence. That is quite obvious. When we talk about the women empowerment, government is trying to do various things. And second thing is, in the area of vocational training and the skill development, government is doing a lot. So this is one of the example you can quote, okay. So whenever we discuss this fact of the day, the idea over here is that these ideas, these case studies, this can be used in your answer writing, or in case of essay, otherwise also in your optional you can use this, okay. In ethics you can use this. When we talk about governance issue, or when we talk about women empowerment, this will be a good example, okay. So that is about the fact of the day. Now moving further with the when we talk about our constitution, we have discussed Union and its territories, citizenship, fundamental right, DPSPs, fundamental duties, union government we were doing, and in that now we will be moving to the parliament. Okay, we have discussed the president, we have discussed vice president. Okay, now we will be discussing parliament. When we talk about parliament in India, okay, so there are two houses, okay, and when we see president is also interior part of the parliament. Okay, so when we see parliament, there are, you can say, three entities which are forming parliament. One is lower house, that is your Lok Sabha, then we have upper house, that is Rajya Sabha, and then our president. Okay, president is part of parliament because you know that the work of the parliament is legislation, you can say drafting of legislation, coming up with the laws, or you can say broadly law making is the job of the parliament. Okay, now when we talk about law making, you know that if there is a bill, it has to be a law. In that order, it has to go through both the houses. Okay, after the scrutiny of both the houses, it will be sent to the president for the assent. Okay, this is the normal course of action. There are certain exceptions, like when we talk about, you know, constitutional amendment bill, etc. In that case, president has to give the assent. Okay, so that is something mandatory which is there. But anyways, we are saying that in the normal course of action, this is the way Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha will go for the scrutiny, and then there will be assent which will be sought from the president. That is why it is an president is the integral part of the law making process, and that is the job of parliament. So president is part of the parliament as well. Other than that, also you will be seeing that president is the one who is summoning the meetings, okay, sessions of the parliament. Other than that, the first address will be given by the president to the both the house. In the budget session also you must have seen that. Okay, so these are certain things because of which you will be seeing that there is no, you can say, watertight compartmentalization in Indian polity when we talk about the executive and the judiciary and the legislation. Okay, so this is some area where you will be seeing that executive is part of your legislature. Okay, so that is one fact. Now coming to the parliament, we will be discussing two articles today. Constitution of parliament. Okay, there shall be parliament of union, for which shall consist of the president and two houses, to be known respectively as the council of state and the house of the people. Council of state is basically your Rajya Sabha. Okay, and then we talk about house of people, that is your Lok Sabha. Okay, and they have said that president should also be part of it. So again, as I told you that in parliament we include two houses as well as president. Okay, moving further, you will be seeing article 80, that is composition of the council of states. Okay, now since we have discussed that these are the part, we will be starting with the Rajya Sabha. We will be seeing the you can say composition of council of states, then we will be moving to the Lok Sabha in the next lecture. Okay, now the council of states shall consist of 12 members to be nominated by the president and not more than 238 representative of state and union territories. So you will be seeing that there are total 250, that is the maximum strength. That is maximum strength of Rajya Sabha, out of which 238 are there to represent your states and union territories, and other than that you will be having 12 nominated members. These nominations are made by, or you can say these are appointed by president, okay, from 4 walks of life, that is arts, science, or any kind of social service. Okay, so considering that art, science, literature and social service, these are the 4 areas from which you will be taking you can say these nomination, and president will be the person who will be appointing them as the member. Okay, nominate them as the member. So here you will be seeing maximum strength of Rajya Sabha is basically 250, but as of now if we talk about this particular Rajya Sabha, we have 245 as a strength. Okay, out of which here you will be seeing 12 are nominated, okay, and 233 members are from the, you can say, state and union territories. Okay, so I hope that is clear. This is the present strength, actual strength as of now. Okay, and maximum you can go up to 250. Now moving further, we will be talking about the article, first article of the day, that is talking about Canadian visa in hand, record number of Indians illegally entering US and seeking asylum in UK. So in this issue, what is happening recently, the trend which we can see, that here you can see in this particular graph over here, they are saying that there are people who are taking the Canadian route. This number is increasing over here. So this blue part over here, you will be seeing that is increasing day by day. Okay, why? Because there are certain reasons we will be discussing that. The right now problem is that from Indian people who are having Canadian visa. They will take Canadian visa, they will go to Canada, and from there what they will do is they are trying to take a route to UK or USA. Okay, reason being Canada has soft borders. Soft border means when we talk about the USA, you know that some, if you know the geography, so you will be finding that something like this, they have the borders like this. Okay, so when we talk about this is USA, this is Canada, this is USA, and here you will be seeing we have the Mexico or Mexico, whatever you want to say. When we talk about this particular area, these borders, or you can say USA Mexico border, they have very tight security because of the already illegal immigration issue is there, and that is why they are having very tight you can say security over here. When we talk about Canadian borders, Canada US border, so here mobility is quite good. Second thing is there are no, when we talk about the security, much scrutiny is not there. Okay, because they have good relations, etc. Considering that much scrutiny is not there, because of which transit is quite easy. Okay, so Indian people who are taking visa to Canada, going there, and then they are entering into USA. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing is from here they are going to, you can say, crossing the Atlantic, they are going to the UK. Okay, so and when we are talking about the transit visa, etc., so when we talk about a person who is coming from Canada, okay, so in that case they will be having you can say lesser strict transit rules. Okay, when we talk about the stopovers, etc., they are having very lenient policies when we talk about from Canada to UK or Canada to USA. So considering that, what people are doing is they are taking the visa of Canada and then they are entering into USA and or USA or UK, and then they are seeking asylum over there. Now getting asylum and getting inside the country is fine, but when the authorities over there, they want to remove them from the country, so that is a tedious task, because first you have to find them, then you have to go through a trial, and then you will be, you can say, able to remove them from that. So that takes a lot of time, and that is why this is being a concern for USA and UK, because ultimately these are the illegal immigrants which are entering inside the countries. Okay, so here you will be seeing the number of undocumented Indians crossing over from Canada to US on the foot has reached all-time high. The spike has placed Canada's visa screening process under lens, more so due to the parallel concern over Canada-bound India passengers seeking asylum in UK while transit. Okay, the while transit means you will be seeing that they will be taking a particular, let's say, you can say for the transit they will be taking a particular ticket, there will be a stopover, and in that particular stopover they will be asking for the asylum. Okay, now there are countries which are giving asylum easily, and one of them is UK. Okay, so in that asylum they will be giving the asylum, and then they will be staying over there for a while. Okay, and then when they try to remove them, that means that finding that particular person will not be very easy. So these are certain concerns which are there. Now how Indians stand little chance of asylum but still manage to stay on. Here you will be seeing rising number of Indian walk-ins and asylum seekers in the USA and UK has brought the spotlight on the immigration system in these countries that are already burdened by the number of cases of pendency. When we are talking about the asylum related cases, even though a few are guaranteed asylum, other stay permits, the removal proceedings can drag on for indefinitely and allowing migrants to stay. Now they will ask for the asylum, they will actually apply for the asylum, but the thing is only few of them will be, you can say, getting that, but finding these people after applying, or you can say finding these people who are not getting the asylum, so and removing them from the country, that becomes a tedious task. Okay, so that is why it is having a concern. Now we will be seeing what is the data over here. So latest figure from the US Custom Borders Protection is saying that there are 5,152 undocumented Indians entered the US from Canada on foot in June 2024. Now we are talking about just 1 month over here. Okay, in just 1 month there are 5,000, over 5,000 people who has crossed this particular, you can say, border. Significant rise in the Indian nationals seeking asylum in UK during the stopovers. Now why stopovers? Because transit visa exemptions are there. Indians with the valid visa for the US, Canada or Australia can transit through the UK without any visa. Okay, so if you are going from, let's say, from India to Canada, you are having a visa to Canada, and if you are having a stopover at UK, okay, your flight is having a stopover at UK, and then you stay in UK, and then you try to take asylum, or even without asylum, you stay over there, and now police has to find you out before you are sent back to your own country. That particular thing here is that in the transit visa, India, Canada, these people are having no restrictions for the stopovers, and that is one way they are going over there. Canada's visa policy, if we see, so visa accessibility easy. If we talk about India, Canada, okay, most of the time you will see most of our, you can say Canada is considered as the half Punjab, okay. So you that these notions are there because there is easily available visa which is there. So here you will be saying visa accessibility. Canada's relatively accessible visa process is the key factor attracting the migrants. Now visa abuse, why? Because here these are the evidence which is saying that they have taken the visa of Canada and then they are staying into USA or UK, okay. So that is second thing, leading to visa policy adjustments. Now response from UK and US, obviously the response will be that they will be trying to go for the reviewing their migrant related policies. They will be asking Canada to do the same. So that is the response over there. Call for stricter Canadian visa screening and the enhanced border security, suggestion for Canada bound Indian nationals to obtain transit visa to prevent the misuse. Now there are chances that they will go for the, you can say, removal of this particular easement which is there on the Indians, that they do not need any kind of transit visa, but that might be needed now, okay. Till now that is just you can say some of the you can say options which has been explored by the governments. Canada's position, Canada will also go into looking into the immigration laws. They will make their visa norms quite stricter, okay. So that is another thing. Now northern versus the southern border dynamics. I have told you already over here in this particular picture when we discussed that this is the northern border of the USA, this is the southern border. Now why is that now they are moving toward the northern border? Because when we talk about this particular border, earlier what used to be there is there was this donkey routes, okay. There used to be donkey routes. The donkey routes are like, you can say, people from India, they used to take this sea route to Africa, and from there they will be if not Africa, then they will be moving around Africa, and then they will be going to the South America. From South America they will be using the land routes to go, like from Panama and this area Mexico, they will be going to the Mexico borders, and then they will be entering or getting asylum from these borders. Now the scrutiny or the security over these borders are very high, so there are various illegal means, there are various human trafficking rackets which are going on over there, and out using that, giving some money, they will be entering USA. But this route was quite difficult, many people used to lose their lives, etc. And that is why people are now exploring this particular second route which is there from the northern boundaries, okay. So they will be going to Canada, and from Canada they will be entering into USA. So this is the northern border appeal and the security differences. As I told you, the northern border has the less security and southern border has the high security. So I hope that is clear. Now we will be moving to the next article, which is related to the president's address in a particular event, wherein she has said that people are hours of the going to judiciary. When we talk about the people from the hinterland, rural areas, poor background, they are not very easy, or you can say they do not rely very much on the judiciary, because they know that there will be this you can say adjournment delays which are there, or you can say this practice of, or the culture of adjournment which is there in the courts, which is taking a lot for a person to seek justice. It will make sure that there are various delays which are there, or financially he will be exhausted. Other than that, also physically, there are people who are coming from the village area, and then they will be getting a date, they have to go back without having any kind of concrete you can say development in their hands. So ultimately these people are not having very much to do, and that is why until unless it is very necessary for them to approach the judiciary, they will not do that. So that is one concern which is there in the judiciary, that is called as the adjournment culture. Considering that our president has used a term, that is, there is this black coat syndrome, okay, black coat syndrome. Now what is black coat syndrome? You must be experiencing this one thing when you are going to the hospital, etc. When you are in the hospital, your blood pressure will try to increase, or you can say you will be seeing that there is this thak thak inside your heart. So that is why, because when we are hospital, we are afraid that or we are speculating that we don't have any kind of disease, or something major might not be should not happen. So considering that, there will be this issue that your blood pressure will start to rise, okay. This is called white coat syndrome, okay. Looking at the doctor in the white coat, your blood pressure is rising, that is your you can say white coat syndrome. But when we talk about this black coat syndrome, similarly you can say that when a person who actually go for any kind of consultation to a let's say a lawyer or a any member of judicial community, so in that case, and he will not be very much comfortable going to the judiciary seeking justice, because he knows the process, he knows that there are various delays which are there, he will be financially as well as physically exhausted. So that is why this is basically your black coat syndrome, that people are afraid or people are scared to go to the judiciary. Okay, so that has been discussed over here. Here you will be saying there is this culture of adjournment. Culture of adjournment means that you are getting dates, on every hearing you are getting just the next date. Okay, so that is there. The poor from the village are still anxious to approach the courts, as they feel that the fighting for justice will make their lives even more difficult, and term it black coat syndrome. Okay, so that is there. Delays in deciding heinous crimes such as rape forces the common man to think that the judicial process lacks sensitivity. Okay, when we talk about the sensitivity, or when we talk about the case which are heinous in nature, in that case also, if we are taking 10 to 15 years to give the punishment or to deliver the justice, obviously common people might think that they lack sensitivity. Okay, now here you will be seeing there should be a quick disposal of the cases of the crimes against women. This is the similar thing which has been talked by the Prime Minister as well. Here you will be seeing black coat syndrome. White coat syndrome is where patient blood pressure increase in the presence of the doctor. That is the white coat syndrome which we have discussed. Now common people face the similar plight in approaching courts, where they go with the hope to seek justice. Okay, so they will also be having this you can say fear that they will be financially exhausted in the process. So that is your black coat syndrome. Now there are certain concerns which has been raised by the president over here. You will be seeing judicial accessibility. When we talk about the accessibility, that means that poor from a rural background is coming to, you can say, let's say district court, and then they are not able to get justice for like 10 to 15 years. So that is, despite he is there or he has actually made an attempt to the judiciary, but the thing is, it is not, justice is not accessible to him as of now. Okay, so that is their judicial accessibility. Criticize the culture of adjournment, and that deters the poor and rural citizen from seeking justice. Second thing is black coat syndrome, which we have already seen, that people from different walks of life, they are afraid to go to judiciary until unless it is very necessary from them. Okay, moving further, delays in the heinous crimes which we have discussed, and need for reforms. Okay, so these are certain points which has been, you can say, taken into consideration by the president in her address. Now our you can say Chief Justice has also recorded certain issues like case backlog. You know that the number or the strength of the judges in the Supreme Court, when we talk about, that is 33 plus 1. Okay, but the cases is very much cases are there. Okay, you must be seeing that when we talk about the, let's take a simple example, that Aadhaar case which was there, which started way back in 2017-18, but still there is no judgment. There are that has been transferred from one bench to another. So that is there. When we talk about the, you can say, high courts or the higher judiciary, the pendency is more than 4 crore to 5 crore. Okay, these are the cases which is pending. Judges are overburdened. So that is their cases backlog is there in the higher judiciary, even subordinate judiciary as well. Then staff vacancies. Okay, manpower is less. So that is there, pointed out significant vacancies in judiciary and non-judicial positions impacting the efficiency. Okay, if human resource is not available, then obviously efficiency of the process will be you can say having some kind of objections. Then infrastructure and the inclusivity, called for the improved court infrastructure and a safe and inclusive environment for all users. Judicial training and technology emphasizing on the modernization of the training and the integration of technology to enhance the judicial effectiveness. No doubt there are certain steps which has been taken in this regard, so that you can see that judicial processes are being transparent, etc. You know that there are various important trials which are going on in the you can say high courts or the Supreme Court. These are made available for the live streaming, etc. So that is one good part. But then again there are various things which has to be done, like this, when we talk about the human resources, when we talk about the vacancies that has to be fulfilled, one thing. Second thing is these delays should be make sure that there is no delay in delivering the justice, okay, because justice delayed is basically justice denied, okay. So that is something which we have talked about the judiciary. Now moving further to the next article, which is talking about India's special China problem. Now there was this particular event wherein our you can say the external affairs minister has talked about. They have said that the whole world, every country in the world is facing China problem, okay, whether they have borders with them or not, okay, whether they are neighbor or not, but everyone is facing a China problem. Like when we talk about USA, when we talk about UK, when we talk about the countries like Australia, they are not having the direct borders from the with the China, but they are still facing issues. These issues are basically economic in nature. Most of the countries are having deficit with China because China is having trade surplus with them. China is dumping their cheap products in their market. So that is one thing. Second thing is when we talk about USA, that war is kind of strategic. Okay, USA wants to have its hegemony, and when we talk about China, China is directly, you can say, challenging USA's hegemony in this world order. Okay, so this is another thing. Okay, Russia and China has their own issues. No doubt in recent time they have come closer, but they have their own issues because Russia would not want to lose its position in Asia. Okay, and if China is rising in Asia, then it is also you can say imperative for Russia to think about this particular issue. Okay, so these are the things which are there. Every country in the world is facing this particular problem. Even UK, when we talk about United Kingdom, these are also facing these economic issues. Okay. Now the thing is, why the problem of India is very unique, because we are having this issue that is economic. We are also having this you can say deficit with China. Second thing is we have border issues as well. Okay, we have this you can say deficit with China, but still we cannot stop imports from China because many industries of our country are basically reliant on that. Okay, so that is why we are having this special kind of you can say issue over here, where conundrum is there. You can say that we are having this economic problem and then we are having this border issues. You know that when we talk about LAC, there are various issues which are going on. So that is why we are having a special China condition over here. So let's see. Special China problem over and above the world's general China problem. So everyone is having a general China problem, but we are having a special China problem. Border and the state of relations with the country call for investment from the China to be scrutinized. Now we have the border problems. Now there are various people or various scholars which are saying that why don't we go for stopping imports from China, but the thing is that is not quite practical because we are dependent for various things. When we talk about the solar modules, okay, solar cells, we are dependent on China. When we talk about the APIs, okay, we are dependent on China. Our pharmaceutical you can say when we talk about sector, that is also dependent on APIs, okay, and we are dependent on China for the APIs. So all these things, or you can say we are dependent on China for certain raw materials. When we talk about the semiconductor industry in India, we are trying to going for two models. One is assembly model and the one is fabrication model. When we talk about assembly model, that means that we are taking chips from China and then we are assembling them in our country. Okay, so again we are dependent on China for taking the chips. So these are certain things. There is a general problem. We are not only the country in the world which is having a debate about China. Go to Europe, ask them what is among their major economic or the national security debates today. It is about China. Look at the United States. It is obsessed with China and rightly so in many ways. Okay, so that is there. All in all weather linked to, other than that, when we are talking about the border security, so now we are doing something about the border security. So we are going for making sure that our infrastructure is robust enough so that we can tackle the border issue. Okay, so this particular economic dependence does not have to do with, does not make us cripple about this border issue. So that is why we are enhancing our border security mechanisms. Okay, all weather linked to Leh and 14 key road projects covering 4 states, 2 union territories under the India's border program. Now there is this border road organization which is you can say operated by the army and military. So basically they are going for the construction of roads and infrastructure in that particular area. So there are 14 key road projects which are going on. they are vital for the fast mobility of the forces in operational situations. Okay, so that is their border infra projects top priority, work on the third route to Leh in the full swing. Okay, so they are trying to find a alternative route to Leh. We are having two routes which are there, but these are not all weather connectivity roads, or you can say in the winters there are chances that these road, because of the snows etc., they can be blocked. Okay, so because of which we are going for the third route, that is basically having a all weather you can say connectivity. Okay, now here you can see signaling some process in the diplomatic negotiation. You know, recently there was this meeting which has happened, a military level meeting which has happened between India and China's counterparts. They has basically gone for saying certain statement, and in that one statement was that which is narrowing down the differences and find early resolution of the outstanding issues. So here when we see this particular word, that is the narrowing down the differences. Okay, so this was used for the first time. Okay, so that is why it is a good thing on the border related, but the thing is you can never rely on China's words. Okay, so that has always been a problem. Okay, China says something, does something, so that is why we are being cautious. We are going for the another road infrastructure development which is there. Okay, if people are complaining about the trade deficit with China, we are too. Decades ago, we consciously overlooked the nature of Chinese production. Now, when China started to rise, they started to give various kind of subsidies. They have actually, they were the free riders. When we talk about USA, USA has given various subsidies to the developing world. At that point of time, China has taken advantage of it, and China has made sure that they do very good in the manufacturing sector, and that is why they are able to export everything to everyone. Okay, and they are going for the cheap exports etc etc, and that is why at that point of time we did not give much thought to China, and recently everyone is facing that particular problem. Okay, China in many ways is a unique problem, and because it is a unique policy, it is a unique polity, it is a unique economy. So we have to approach it in the that particular say. When we talk about unique polity, you know that China is following certain kind of you can say socialist or the communist policies in the polity. Okay, second thing is you will be seeing that China is having a kind of authoritarian regime. Okay, but then when we are talking about the economy, they are being quite liberal about it. Okay, they are working on the market basis. So that is a unique quality of China, that polity and economy are on the basis of different ideologies that is working. Okay, when we look at the trade with China, investments with China, exchange of various kinds with China, if you neglect to take into account that this is very different country with a very different way of working, I think your basic start is going off track. Obviously, here the idea is that we have to look China in a very different way. Okay, it has never been government's position that it should not be having investments with China or doing business with China. Government does not want to end the economic ties with China. It was never the, you can say, in this particular world, when we talk about this particular complex world, this is not even possible. You know that when we consider that we are dependent on something, okay, so cutting off these ties will not be a good idea. So that is there. Over investment issues, it is common sense that investments from China would be scrutinized. I think the border and the state of relocation, you can say state of relocation between India and China calls for it. So basically they are saying that these scrutinies will be there. Even our external affairs minister says that these scrutiny with or without border. Okay, when we are talking about the USA, UK, these countries are also going for the scrutiny of these investments, and any kind of economic policies are there with respect to China, they are going for the such scrutiny. Then why not India? India is having you can say even more you can say difficult problems when we are talking about China. They do not have borders, then they are going for the scrutiny. We have the borders, then we have to go for the scrutiny. So that is one thing which we have been discussed. People write that we should clearly identify this as a national security issue, and but the thing is, when we are talking about this particular paragraph over here, they are saying that people want to declare economic investments as the national security issue, okay, and deal it with that way, but that is not the case, because as I told you, we are dependent on China for various things, so we cannot go for such harsh actions. Okay, other than that, these Galwan Valley, North North and South banks of the Pangongso Lake, the Gogra hot spring area, and these are the, you can say, issues which has been discussed various times by us. So even in the previous you can say lecture, I must have discussed the areas and the locations of the Galwan Valley, Pangong Tso, etc. So these are the issues which was there in you can say 2019, 2020. There was this standoff, and afterwards there were certain buffer zones which has been created. But other than that, there are certain legacy issues like Depsang Plains, Demchok, etc. So these are there which you have to keep a tab on. Here you will be seeing there are various routes they are covering. Okay, you don't have to remember all these routes, but there are 2-3 important things which you have to remember. One, you know that there is this road, that is here you will be seeing there is this Darbuk Shok Daulat Beg Oldie road. Okay, so Darbuk Shok Daulat Beg Oldie road, that is the road which is existing over here. Okay, then from Leh you can take this particular Leh, Hemis, Darbuk, Shok, Daulat Beg Oldie, that is one way which is there. Then there is this another route which is there, Leh, Sasoma, Saserla, and then it is going to the Daulat Beg Oldie. So this is the alternative route which we are trying to find. Okay, so these are the 2 routes which we are right now talking about. Other than that, one route, this is there, here you can see Manali, Darcha, Shinkunla, Padam, Nimu and Leh. Okay, so this is the third route. These are the routes which are important for you. So please keep a tap on that. In this particular article, they have talked about these routes only. Okay, so you can go through this. Otherwise, you just know these names on the maps, so that if they ask some way around these names, like they can ask you about Nimu, they can ask you about Padung. So you just have to know that these are the places which are important from the, you can say, LSE's point of view, or when we talk about these when we talk about this particular connectivity to the areas of Daulat Beg Oldie and areas of Leh. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now moving further, why Namibia plans to kill hundreds of its majestic wild animals for meat. Okay, recently in Namibia there are certain drought conditions which are prevailing, and because of which people are dying, because of which livestock is dying. Okay, so considering that, to make sure that there are various wildlife animals which are actually going for the overgrazing, etc. So they want to tackle that particular problem, so that there can be natural resources can be available for the humanity. Okay, considering that, they will be going for killing certain animals. That is not only elephant, but there are various other you can say animals like hippopotamus, elephants, deers, etc. They are trying to kill over here. Okay, and they are saying that this is as per their constitutional mandate. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so they are saying that this is as per their constitutional mandate. This exercise is necessary and is in line with our constitutional mandate, where our natural resources are used for the benefit of the Namibian citizens. Okay, so that is there. Now coming to the next part, what has led to the drought in Namibia. So when we talk about the these extreme events which are happening, one thing is climate change can be a reason. Okay, second thing is this area is drought prone area because there is a desert, Namibian desert is there, so because of which also drought can be there. Right now when we are talking about this particular situation which has started in the nearby countries of let's say started from the Botswana, and then it has spread across Namibia, Angola, Zambia, here Zimbabwe, in this particular area. So you can say that the south part of you can say African continent is facing this particular issues. Okay, when we talk about Namibia, here you can see Namibia is having border with Angola. Okay, this is small part which is going over here, this is having a border with Namibia. Okay, little bit Zimbabwe, Botswana, and here you will be seeing this particular western side border which is basically having a border with the Atlantic. Okay, so please remember that. Now coming to the next part, we have seen that what are the reasons. One is that there is this desert area. Second thing is this area has always been the you can say area which is prone to droughts. Other than that, the frequency of these events is increasing because of the climate change as well. Okay, so these are the 3 things which are written over here. How has the drought impacted Namibia? Okay, there are certain data which is given. They are saying that the livestock, or you can say livestock, is dying over there. Other than that, the staple crop, that is maize, that has exhausted already. When we talk about the time of June to September, that is a time wherein already there is a crisis which is going which will be there with respect to the food shortage in Namibia, but this time that has actually increased because of the droughts. Okay, one more factor I would like to tell you over here is that drought can one more factor which might have you can say contributed to the drought, that is El Nino. You know that the last few years has been the El Nino years, and that is why you can say that can be a factor over here. Food availability usually is low in Namibia from July through September. The situation has made worse by the drought. Staple crops such as maize has dried up, livestock is dying, 84% of the country's food reserves are exhausted, and prices have skyrocketed. Okay, between April and June are the estimated 1.2 million people in Namibia face high level of acute food insecurity. Food insecurity. So basically they are saying that 1.2 million people, nearly 12 lakh people are you can say facing food insecurity. Okay, so there is this need of a urgent action which is there. Other than that also female and children are being vulnerable in this particular season, because in the search of food they have to go long ways, they have to travel far from their homes. In that case these children and female are basically going through some kind of gender based violence as well. So these are the impact which are there because of this drought condition which is there in Namibia. Now how would culling the wild animals will help? Okay, so there are big animals which are basically going for the you can say overgrazing etc. Other than that, one more thing is that when there is no food, animals will try to go for the search of the food. They will try to get out of their wild you can say habitat, and they will be moving towards the human you can say settlements in the search of the food. Okay, because of which there will be man animal conflict, and ultimately to avoid all these things, to make sure that these animals are not coming into the you can say settlement areas, that is why this is one of the steps which has been taken by them. Other than that also, as I told you, that their constitutional mandate is that the natural resources will be first used by the Namibian citizens, so that is also there. So here you will be seeing it is not just for the meat that the Namibia wants to cull the wild animals. The government fears that the drought will force them or animals to migrate in search for the food and water, which could bring them in conflict with the human population. Okay, there are nearly 24,000 elephants. As I told you that Namibia is one of the country which is having highest population of the elephants. Okay, nearly 24,000 elephants are there in the you can say Namibia. So that is why they are going for the culling of some animals that will reduce the effect of drought on the wildlife. Okay, so that is there with respect to the you can say this issue which is going on in Namibia. Second thing is killing wild animal for meat is unusual? So no, it is not unusual. Here you will be seeing no wild animals for various species are hunted for food, sports, trophies around the world. So this is there. Okay, I hope that is clear for why they are killing the elephants over here or the other animals as a matter of fact. Okay, you have to remember the location of Namibia, because that can be asked, since it has been in the news, they can ask you about the locations as well. Okay, now moving to the next part, which is talking about over 150 drones downed by the Russia in one of the Ukraine's biggest attack. Now we have seen that in the from February 2022 we have seen that there was this issue which has been going on, that is Russia Ukraine war which is going on over there, and in that particular pattern we have seen that earlier Russia has shown some kind of aggression and they have entered into the Ukraine's territories. Okay, but recently we have seen that Ukraine has also started entering into the Russian territory. You must have this heard about this Kursk region. Okay, so they have started to enter into that. Okay, one thing is that they have occupied a little bit of the territory over there. Other than that, now they are launching big attacks on Russia. Okay, so this was the attack wherein more than 150 drones has been launched from Ukrainian soil on the Russian soil. Second thing is they are going targeting into the heart of Russia. They are going into the heart of Russia, inside of the Russia. Okay, so that is why now this is a threat for Russia as well. Okay, even USA has actually asked the Ukraine has asked USA to let them use their weapon, okay, to target the you can say inside cities of the Russia. But the thing is, there was this restriction which has been put by the Western countries. They have said that the whatever ammunition they are providing, whatever missiles they are providing, they are there to be used for the border areas and not for the you can say inside areas. Okay, so that is there. Here you will be seeing President Volodymyr Zelensky pressured on the US to let Kyiv strike military targets deep inside the Russian territories. Okay, US has limited the use of weapons to Ukrainian soil and defensive cross-border operation, which Zelensky thinks limit the capability to truly and fully protect Ukraine. Okay, so that is the thing which is there, which is a development which has happened. Second thing, if we talk about the Israel-Hamas issue, in that issue recently they have found the bodies of 6 hostages. You know that there are certain hostages which are there with Hamas, and Israel is saying that all of these hostages should be returned back. Then only this war will be, you can say, stopped, or other than that there are certain other conditions. When we talk about the, you can say, Prime Minister of Israel, he is having this policy that he wants to eliminate Hamas from this particular region, okay, and because of which this war has been elongated. Nearly 6 of these hostages has found dead, and they were found dead just before the military arrived over there. So that is why you can say that now there was this different angle which has started in this particular war, and now the country, or the, you can say, defense minister of Israel etc., are putting pressure on the prime minister to go for a compromise, to take a deal. Okay, so that is recent you can say development which has happened in the Israel Hamas issue. Now moving further, the last part for you is that for your own read, one article is there, how Supreme Court has centered the right of the accused in the recent PMLA case. So there they will be discussing about the section 45 of the PMLA. They will be seeing that they are saying that basically when we talk about bail is the rule or jail is the exception. Okay, earlier it was said that in the PMLA cases the bail should not be given because that is the kind of nature which is economic nature, and if they fled the country, and considering all these considerations, it was said that bail should not be granted. Second thing is, when we look at the section 45, that is having a negative language. Okay, so bail should not be given until, so this negative language is given, so there was this interpretation that bail is not the rule over here. But recently Supreme Court in a particular case said that bail is always a rule, jail is the exception. To be or to be kept in a to keep in a jail, you should have some kind of concrete evidence. Okay, so that is there, you can read through the article. We have discussed this issue earlier once again, so that is why I am not getting into details of it. So you can go through this particular article. In the end, there is this practice question: which ocean borders Namibia to the west? Atlantic, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Arctic Ocean. So you can attempt this question, answer me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.